To start, remove the front wheel from the vehicle. Remove the bolt holding the brake line to the back of the strut body. Remove the two nuts and bolts holding the strut to the hub. Unclip the sensor line attached to the side of the strut mount. Remove the 3 bolts holding the top mount to the strut tower, and the strut will be free to remove from the vehicle. Using spring compressors, remove the nut holding the top mount to the OEM spring. Place the foam insulator and then the OEM top mount onto the Raceland coilover and secure the mount with the supplied nut. Slide the coilover into the strut tower, align the top mount studs, and reattach with the 3 factory nuts. Lift the hub onto the coilover and reinstall the factory nuts and bolts to secure the mount to the hub. Reattach the brake line and sensor bracket to the back side of the coilover. Clip the sensor line to the side of the mount. You can now reinstall the front wheel as the installation for this corner is complete. To begin the rear, remove the rim from the vehicle. Remove the nut that holds the shock to the rear axle. You can now pull down on the hub and remove the spring from its perch. In the trunk, remove the cap covering the strut mount. Remove the nut holding the shock to the strut tower, and the shock will now be free from the vehicle. Remove the factory metal mount from the OEM bump stop. Ensure the supplied spacer is on the Raceland shock and slide the factory metal mount onto the piston. Place the shock into the strut tower, slide the factory upper bushing onto the piston, and secure with the supplied nut. Reinstall the plastic cap covering the strut. To install the rear spring perch, place the large spacer with the female threaded end onto the top of the control arm. The spacer with the male threaded end will go on the bottom side of the control arm and thread into the spacer sitting on top of the control arm. You can now thread the spring seat into the spacers attached to the control arm. Thread the locking collar onto the spring seat to secure the perch when the ride height is set. Place the factory upper rubber insulator onto the Raceland spring. Place into position on the spring seat and against the body of the vehicle. Lift the hub and slide the shock onto the mount and reinstall the factory nut to secure the shock. You can now reinstall the rear wheel as the installation for this corner is complete.